Good morning and welcome to our monthly memorial service, Shotsuki Hoyo. I am Jeannie Toshima and will be chairing today's service. On the first Sunday of each month, we conduct a monthly memorial service in honor of those members of our Buddhist community that have passed away during the respective month in which the service is being held. Sensei will now read the names of those who have passed away in the month of May, in whose memory we are dedicating this morning's service to.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Now this is our Shotsuki Hoyo service for the month of May 2021, again recorded for May 2nd of 2021. And I'm going to read now the names of those members and friends of the temple whom we know had passed away in the month of May. If you've lost someone in the month of May and they're not on our list yet, we'll be happy to add them for the next time. Reading then from the May Shotsuki Hoyo list. Amasuge Kiyoko, Arima Tomo Saburo, Endo Gihe, Fujimoto Kimi, Fujimoto Masao, Fukuwa Hiriko Betty, Goto Chikako, Gibbs Margaret, Hamano Shinajiro, Hashimura Gary Akira, Ikeda Dr. Kazuo, Ikeda Kiichi, Kawamoto Yoichi, Kawamura Randy, Kikawa Alan, Kishaba Kyoko, Kuramoto Kaori, Kuramoto Stephen, Marumoto Kunitoshi, Matsumoto Rokuichi, Mito Aiji, Miyagishima Genkichi, Miyamoto Kome, Miyashita Shinichi, Murashige George, Naito Sasako, Nakajima Nui, Nakamoto Kenichi, Nakamura Tani, Nakashimo Hirose, Nishimura Ki, Numa Toranosuke, Ogata Y, Okuno Heiji, Okuno Tane, Okutani, Koshimo, Onishi Katsuto, Otani Waka, Sakuda Ushi, Sato Ayako, Sato Henry Yoshio, Shimoda Tokiko, Shinmoto Bill, Shirozu Iso, Suechika Tom, Sunada Yuku, Sunairi Chieko, Takemoto Mitsuyo, Tamanaha Kokichi, Tanaka Hiroshi, Tanaka Minoru, Tanaka Ryotaro, Tanaka Sute, Tanaka Yone, Tasaki Hyakutaro, Tsukimoto Mary Yoshie, Ushijima Helen Mori, Utsumi Helen Chieko, Wakabayashi Nobuki, Watanabe Mitsu, Yamada Sentaro, Yamamoto Yoshikyo, Yamasaki Toshimi, Yamashita Shigeichi Jack, Yamane Tatsuo, Yuriko Betty, Yusa Hatsuno. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom, light, and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Thank you. Thank you for listening reverently as we read the names of our friends who passed in May. As you wish, please join me in the chanting of Sanbutsuge or listen reverently as we chant this first portion of the larger sutra on Amida Buddha. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Busatsu, Daimuryo, Jukyo, Sanbutsuge, Kogen Gigi, Ijin Mugoku, Nyode Enmyo, Muyo Tosha, Nichigaten Mani, Shuko Enyo, Kaishnon Pe, Yunyaku, Jumoku, Nyolai Yogen, Chosei Murin, Shongaku Daion, Koru Jipo, Kaimon Shojin, Tammai Chie, Itoku Muryo, Shusho Keiyu, Jintai Zennen, Shobuten Hokai, Gujin Jinno, Kungongai Tai, Mumyo Yokunu, Seison Yomu, Ninno Shi Shi, Jintoku Muryo, Kukun Kodai, Chie Jinmyo, Komyo Itho, Shindo Daisen, Ganga Sabutsu Taisho Ho, Kado Shoji, Mihu Gedatsu, Fute Joi, Kainin Shojin, Nyode Sammai, Chie Ijo, Gosei Toku Buten, Fugyo Shigan, Issai Kuku, Issa Dayon, Keshi Ubuten, Yakuten Nokuman, Muryo Daisho, Shunyon Goja, Kuyo Issai, Shito Shobuten, Funyo Gudo, Kensho Fugyaku, Inyon Goja, Shobuten, Sekai, Bufu Kage, Mushu Setendo, Komyo Shisho, Henshi Shokoku, Nyode Shojin, Ijin Nanryo, Ryoga Sabuten, Okudo Daichi, Goshu Kimyo, Dojo Chozaten, Kokunyo Naion, Nimu Toso, Gato Aimin, Nodaten Issai Jippo Laisho, Shinnetten Shoujo, Ito Ga Keiraku Unknown, Kobuten Shinmyo, Zeiga Shinsho, Hotsugan no Hi, Rikisho Shoyoku, Jippo Seison, Chie Muge, Joryo Shison, Shiga Shingyo, Keiryo Shinshi, Shoku Dokuchu, Gagyo Shojin, Ninju Ahuke. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. Gani shikudoku, byodo sei isai, don mo nai, shin ojo on koku. Namanda Buddha namandabu, 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 namanda. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. I wish to express my condolence to any of you who have lost someone in the month of May. I am sorry for your loss. My Aunt Margaret passed away in the May of 2012. She was tolerant, kind, and generous. She is missed. My Aunt Margaret is one of those many people who I owe more than I ever gave back. I expect to look in on her in my next life. Whatever that comes down to meaning, I expect to look in on my Aunt Margaret in our next life. My main topic today. My main topic today will be, what is Buddhism? Is it a religion? Is it a philosophy? Or perhaps a kind of science? People often ask, is Buddhism a religion or a philosophy? And today I want to ask, is it a religion, a philosophy, or perhaps in a sense a science? Buddhism respects and even defends the exact sciences, but we've been using the notion of testing theories and experience a lot longer than the chemists and the physicists have. We've been testing things in experience, testing our beliefs in experience, but we have a broader meaning of testing. Our sense of testing our beliefs is a little broader than the exact sciences use. If you test my leadership in savoring experience, in ethical guidance, and it seems unreliable to you, that might indicate that you should probably go somewhere else and seek a different guide for your spiritual and ethical life. This sort of testing is quite subjective. Maybe the better part of yourself likes my messages, but that little Protestant boy inside rebels. Buddhist testing is mostly testing our beliefs, testing our ideas. Our testing is mostly testing them for consistency, for coherence, for symmetry with our other values. This is not an exact science, but it's the opposite of that dogmatism that says, believe what we teach you or suffer. Some religions say that, believe what I tell you or suffer. Well, Buddhism says we're going to suffer anyway, but certain beliefs will make it a lot worse. Certain ideas and behaviors will make it a lot worse. Greed, anger, and stupidity will make our suffering worse. Thinking, feeling, and acting in greedy, hate-filled, and ignorant ways will make life more painful and more suffering-laden for ourselves and all those whom we touch, all those whom we encounter, all those whom we impact. Besides greed, anger, and foolishness making us suffer, something else that makes us suffer is being wrong about life, just being ignorant, remaining ignorant. Being wrong about fundamental conditions in which we live will exacerbate our suffering, make it a lot worse. Being unscientific makes more problems in our lives. Being unscientific creates more problems in our lives. Now, the Buddha Dharma, being more than 2,500 years old, is actually older than the concepts of religion, science, and philosophy. Our 2,500-year-plus tradition includes religion, certainly things we'd think are religious, philosophy, actually a bunch of philosophies, psychology, very psychological component in there, and science. Take Buddhism for all in this. A single philosophy might be inappropriate for you. A particular psychological approach might be off for you. Religion and science can flat out be wrong. Of those four categories, philosophy, religion, psychology, and science, in truth, most scholars would say that religion is the most symmetrical category, the most obvious category to put Buddhism in, to include the Buddha Dharma. However, there are outliers, those highly qualified people who would disagree, including my late friend, Reverend Dr. Leslie Kawamura, who realized you can't say Buddhism is a philosophy because it's 1,000 philosophies and they're not consistent. But what he did say one time, Reverend Dr. Leslie Kawamura, head of the Buddhist Studies program at the University of Calgary, he told me, Buddhism might be more like the discipline of philosophy, not like a particular philosophy or group of philosophies, but Buddhism might seem to be something resembling the discipline of philosophy itself. However, I'm telling you, it's all of this. It's religion, it's philosophy, it's yoga, it's psychology, and it's science, the Buddha Dharma. So, one place that Buddhism harmonizes with the findings of the exact sciences better than Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or Jainism and Judaism, even when it follows Moses Maimonides, one place where Buddhism is much closer to modern science is in its denial of their soul theory, a denial of their theory that our identity is some non-physical essence that's somehow lodged inside of the body or correlated with the body. You are a biological person. I am a biological person. Now, religions sometimes struggle with this matter of personal identity. We say the soul theory is not the right explanation. So religions offer us a lot of stuff sometimes. Religions drift into poetry, fantasy, pretending. These aren't always bad things, to pretend, to fantasize, to imagine. I, a professional religionist, often tell you that you are on a vehicle, like a train, whose inevitable destination is enlightenment. You are on a vehicle whose inevitable destination is enlightenment, thoroughgoing, transformative enlightenment. I tell you that from time to time. This is an imaginative image, a fantasy about truth, but elaborative of what is real. A fantasy about the truth which elaborates what is real. We can use fantasy, imagination, picturing to poetically indicate what is real. But the Buddhist insistence that a theorized soul thing is not a valid explanation of personal identity, this is just speaking a straight actual truth. This is essentially science. At this point, Buddhists are doing science. But in rejecting the soul theory and embracing a more fluid understanding of subjectivity, a more fluid understanding of personhood, a more fluid understanding of our own personal identity, we must admit we don't have a definitive test. How can we prove there's no soul? What would be a definitive proof that there's no soul? Other religions, most of them, some other religions, in fact most of them, insist on that false theory of a non-physical essence of personhood that survives biological death pretty much unchanged. We won't accept that. But you could be Buddhist and also, in a sense, be Christian, in a sense, be Muslim, in a sense, be Baha'i. We don't prohibit you from involving yourselves with other religions. You know, in terms of religious affiliation, the two largest growing groups in North America are, as you know, non-aligned, people with no religion at all. But the other group that's growing is people involved in more than one tradition. People who are Catholic and Buddhist, people who are Baha'i and also Scientologists, you know. That kind of thing is quite common these days. It might be a little harder and more important to appreciate other religions without participating in them, without having to join them in order to value them. To be able to accept other religions as different might be a good way for us to go. All the religions aren't saying the same thing. Jesus wasn't a Buddha or a Bodhisattva. Amida Buddha is not a god. With greater than 250,000 religious traditions, the real challenge is to allow other religions to be different, very different, and to value them as different. There are a lot of different ways a person could be religious. There are a lot of different ways for people to be people. Some religions are attractive at first, and then when you learn more about them, they're not so appealing. A couple of forms of Protestant Christianity that came up in the late 19th and the early 20th century are opposed to scientific knowledge. They deny evolution, they refuse blood transfusions, they refuse to receive vaccines. Those religious traditions also often seem to judge LGBTQ people as unwholesome. Why? Why would someone who's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, or queer be less wholesome than I am? They're not less wholesome. There's different ways of being human. They're all good. They're all fine. There are various forms of gender identity and various types of sexual orientation. They're all somewhat different from one another, and none are intrinsically unwholesome. We don't have a definitive test that proves that there's no soul, getting back to that, but there isn't. In fact, our friends in the LGBTQ community get the most important implication of there being no soul: fluidity of identity, fluidity of one's identity. Some of those in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community find that their gender identity is fluid. It's not always the same. Good on them. Identity is fluid. On the Mahayana Buddhist vision of life, one thing flows into another and cannot be separated. If you're Buddhist, your personal identity is fluid. Again, in the Buddhist religion, we are inclined to defer to the exact sciences in matters of fact. However, the Buddha's final words were, "Be lamps unto yourselves." That might be intended in a plural form, "Be lamps amongst yourselves." But he's definitely telling his students who post-decease him, the students he is predeceasing, that they have to decide for themselves what is true and what is false. To test doesn't mean necessarily scientific testing. As I asked, what's the test for no soul? We don't have some test that's definitive. What's the test for saying that the interpenetrating unity within difference, the non-substantial oneness of all persons, places, objects, and events, is this fluid process? What's the test for that? I don't know. There are no incontrovertible tests for the truth of this. But Buddhists have tested the theory of dynamic, interpenetrating universal process, the oneness of all life, for plausibility. We have tested it for consistency with our other views. We have tested the view that one thing flows into another in an inseparable oneness. We've tested it for symmetry with our other values, for reliability in times of sadness and loss. This Mahayana Buddhist perspective on the fluid, flowing, insubstantial oneness of all persons, objects, and events has proven trustworthy in my life for 53 years now. Trustworthy as taken as true. Can I prove to you that it's true? No. Can you prove it to yourself that it's true? You can find out, as I have, that it's trustworthy for you, that you are convinced it's trustworthy. Again, Shakyamuni Buddha's final words were, "Be lamps unto yourselves." What the Buddha and what Buddhists mean by this is that in the final analysis, you must only accept that which is plausible to you. That which is plausible to you. Also, you're only going to be happy and spiritually nurtured by a school of Buddhism and a Dharma teacher or minister whose style and tone appeals to you. Give this vehicle a try, if you will, those who haven't yet. If you haven't yet tested out the Jodo Shinshu School of Mahayana Buddhism, join us again next week. Join us every Sunday at 10 a.m. But in the long run, please do adopt in your own life what is plausible to you. Affirm what you find to be life-affirming. The Buddha Dharma will affirm your life if you allow it to. The Buddha Dharma will nurture you if it's the right path for you. You must choose. Take care of yourself. Take care of those you love. And as you wish, in closing the Dharma message portion of our service here, please join me in Gassho and in the saying of the Buddha's name. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much.
Thank you for attending today's service. I'd like to close this service with the loving kindness metta meditation. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. May my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my teachers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May strangers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my enemies be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.